Hello everyone and welcome to the week 3 lab. I'm going to do it just as if I were the student, so you all can follow the same steps that I'm doing. So the first thing that I'm going to do is open up my file explorer down here, and I'm going to create a file called week 3 _ last name. So let me get to where I'm going here. Okay. So here I am in my file explorer. Going to go to a new and then folder and then week 3 _ Baker. Well, it helps if I can type. There we go. Week 3 _ Baker. Okay. And then within that folder, I'm going to create a folder called images. So not dot images, but just images. And each time, and I'm on a Windows computer, so I'm just right clicking, going down to new, and then folder. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is download all of the necessary files. So I'm going to download the CSS, going to download the HTML, I'm going to download the third file, which again I apologize for not putting on the first time around. And then for the image, I'm going to right click, save image as. It's going to pop this up. And I'm going to go to that folder and I'm going to put it in images. Not changing the name, just saving it. Okay. Now, all of the rest of the things that I just downloaded are not in my folder. So I need to take all of them. So I'm clicking on the top one, shift clicking, and that will select all of them. And then moving them into my week 3 folder. Okay, so now I have all of the necessary files. My image file is in the folder called images. I can double click and see it in there. So now we're going to do step 3. So we are going to add a media query to the lab07 test03.css. So I need to open up that file. If you're using Notepad++, it's really easy. You can right click on it and go to edit with Notepad. If you are using another file opener, another not word processor, but text editor, that's the word, you can either do the same kind of thing like an open with, or you can open it from there. So down here at the very bottom of the file, it says add your media query here, so that's what we're going to do. So to add a media query, what we're going to do, we need it to be browsers widths of less than 1,000 pixels. So what we do is we do @ sign, helps if I can type, media, we're going to do screen. And the thing is, for media queries, what you can do as well, so let me bring up our modules here. In our resources section, you can click on media queries, and that's going to bring you here. So this tells you exactly how to do it, right? You can also look in your book. It should be in the first part of the lesson. So we got @media. You don't need the only, oh my gosh, that's what's happening. My cord is sitting on my keyboard. Okay. There we go. So you don't need the only or not in there, but it's a good practice to have it. So we're choosing that it's a screen. And then we want to add the and then the expression. So what the expression is that is where we go back over here. We're going to use max width because we want to check that the maximum width that it's working on is under 1,000 pixels. So the maximum width, 1,000 pixels. Okay. Close our parentheses. And then just like any other CSS rule, you got to have our curly brackets in there. So I'm going to add a little space in that one. Okay. So now we've got our media query. We can hop back over here, make sure that we're good. So yep, that all looks correct. Close that out. Okay, so within the media query, we're going to add our .container declaration. So we're going to come over here, we do .container, and then again, curly braces. And then within that, we're going to add just exactly how the top one is written. So margin so that stands for variable. And then the name of the variable, which is dash dash spacing dash small, not mall, small. And then we're going to end it with our semicolon. And so what that does is within our that secondary file, the variables palette CSS, that sets out what those spacings are. And then we're also needing to add a grid template columns of 1 column. Okay, so we're going to have grid template. Cool thing about Notepad++ is it can autofill that for me. So since that's highlighted, I'm going to hit the tab. It's going to autofill that. And then we just want 1. And if you need to check it, again, we're going to go to our modules. And we're going to go to our resources. And we're going to actually go to the Mozilla documentation here. And again, you can look in your book as well. Going to go to CSS here. And I'm going to expand that out so you can actually see. But we can look down here for grid. Basic, complex, grid template areas, basic concepts of grid, that kind of thing. Okay? You can also type up here, grid template columns, and it will show you exactly how to do it. Okay? We need to shrink that down. What I'm doing is I'm snapping it up to that corner so that they're side by side so I can see both. Okay? Alright. So we're going to go back over here. I'm going to go ahead and save because it's good to save often. Make sure I got my semicolon there. And then the next thing we're going to add is step 5. So after the container, I'm going to new line down a couple of times. And I'm going to do one for from image. Okay. Got my braces here. And then we need to have a background. Okay. So for a background color, we're going to do background dash color. So instead of hitting tab this time, I've double clicked. Going to add in my colon. And we want it to be a variable of color neutral 50. Autofills for me. That's really nice. The other thing you can do is, since I've given you the variable right there, you can also copy and paste it. I'm just typing it out. And then we also want to make sure that the width is set to 100%. And what that means is that the image, whatever's in it, it's going to stretch the whole way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save again. Good to save often. You don't want to lose your stuff. The next thing I'm going to add is the root one. So this one, you can literally just copy and paste, because the syntax is all correct there. So that is saying on the root of the file, we're setting the base font size to 102%. That's actually a typo. I meant to put 120, but we're going with 102. Okay. And then finally, we are adding one more declaration. We are going to declare our plan type. Again, just auto-filling that there. Adding my curly brace. And we want to add a padding, colon. And we want to set that to a variable of space medium, semicolon, new line, set that width to 100%. Okay. And then, oh, we got one more declaration to add. That one is dot option. The reason that it's auto-filling these is because it's mentioned earlier on in the file. So, and we're going to set the width to 90%. So if you've mentioned something once in Notepad++, it will autofill that every time from then on. Okay. So, okay. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to go to my files here. And I'm going to open up this test HTML. Now, you can just open it like that, or you can open it up in your Notepad and then go to View, and we're going to go to View Current File in Chrome. Okay? So the thing that it asks you to do, let me drag this over here, is that we want to use the inspectors to set the window size smaller than 1000. So there are two ways to do that. You can go to Inspect, or you can hit F12. So I'm going to Inspect here. I'm going to drag this over so y'all can see it. And then right up here on this left, this allows us to toggle our devices. Okay. So we've got our plan type up here. We've got our form image. Oh, did I make a typo? Did I make an oopsie? Let's see here. I did. Form image. And then we save. Just to prove to you that even though, you know, do this for years and years. Okay. Okay, so now we can see our form image is set to a background color of that, and then a width of 100%. We can see that our media query is working. We can look at our form data. We can look at our plan type and see that our media query is there for all of them. So let's make this bigger, and we're going to turn off the inspector on that. And you can see that when it's bigger, you've got this lovely image side by side, but when it's smaller, automatically shrinks. So that's what we're going over in responsive design, designing it for 2 different screen sizes, 3 or more realistically, to make use of the different devices so that our users can see it. So now that that's done, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this file here, this week 3 Baker, and I'm going to zip it. So to do that, I've right-clicked on it. I'm going to go to Send To, Compressed, It already names it for me. And then I'm going to turn it in. Now, I can't actually turn it in because I'm not actually a student, but what you would do is you can either drag it here, so drag and drop, or you can go to upload file, okay? So the Snap to screens also works really well for having your book up on one screen and then having your assignment on the other. Make sure to use that, and then make sure you're using the inspector. Let me know if you have any other questions, and if not, I will see you next week. Bye.